kind of like Mr. Babauta's time, maybe. Cel Babauta, Guam Regional Transit Authority head honcho, joining us in the KUAM News Zoom room. Good morning, Mr. B.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina. Sabrina,
She's somewhere around here. I think she's visiting
okay.
her. She's visiting her parents in the hospital in Las Vegas, sir.
Oh, okay.
Happy early Father's Day, by the way.
Well, thank you, Chris. Same to you, man.
Right on. Hey, we'll just get right into it, sir. So I know you had sent me these draft plans here, and there's just a lot of stuff in the works to help kind of modernize the Guam Regional Transit Authority. But I guess we could kind of start with there's some news last week about, I think Congressman San Nicolas had, how did he explain it? He secured language in measure that's working its way through the Congress, setting aside somewhat $20 million for bus shelters.
That's correct. That's correct, Chris.
Has that gone through, Mr. Babauta, or is it just still in bill form?
Yeah, I think it's still bill for, if I'm not mistaken, but probably he was assured that that language will be part of the bill that goes forward to, both houses of Congress and then to the president for his signature, So I hope and pray that, it's silent for us because it'll be very advantageous, as we begin to move forward in building more capacity with Guam Regional Transit Authority. And of course, the economy will begin to grow and more visitors coming into Guam. We need bus shelters, bus shelters that our people be safe and, be comfortable while waiting for transportation. So, and the other thing with that is, we really need an adequate transfer station in Guam, and the Restoration Commission has set aside that piece of property by April for GRTA to build its transfer station. So with that, when we build a transfer station, there'll be an office there for GRTA to provide information to our riders, and also to have like a convenience center there where people can buy, food, use the bathroom, and so forth. So it'd be very helpful. That 20 million is definitely going to be very helpful, Yeah. And we'll be working with the mayors to identify, good locations where we can situate the bus shelters. Yeah.
Mr. B, let's talk about, did you guys anticipate receiving any American Rescue Plan funding specifically for transit?
The governor of Guam, along with the finance team, are working, and putting together a plan for the entire government. And of course, we submitted our proposal, and it's being considered. So just being patient and wait to see what the outcome is going to be. But all cabinet members were advised to submit a plan and be able to strongly justify what their proposals are.
Can you tell us a little bit about your plan? How much did you ask for, and then what are some of the proposals that you're trying to put on the table?
Well, Chris, we still need more buses, So we've asked that we get, as much as we can, hopefully around $6 million to purchase more buses. And with the buses, we'll be able to have more frequency going to the different bus stops, so our people won't have to wait long to get to their ultimate destination, whether it be for school, for work, for medical appointments, and so forth. So we asked for funds to buy electric buses. Of course, the American Rescue Plan is focused on sustainability, on green energy. So we asked that we purchase whatever we can with $6 million to buy electric buses. We're also looking at, GRTA continues to grow, and the Public Law 30-5 allows us to be an autonomous agency. So we work with the board to come up with the manpower, the manning that we need to make ourselves autonomous and be able to be more responsive in the dynamics of growing the Guam transit system in Guam.
Wow. Where's this bill at? Whose bill is this? This bill
So
would.
so essentially that's what we propose is to buy
Wow.
buses and to pardon me, Chris.
What bill is this? This would give the Guam Regional Transit Authority autonomy, you said?
Yeah, Bill 30-5. It was passed back in 2011, Chris.
Oh, I see.
March 2011.
Ah,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So, the other thing that the governor clearly stressed to all cabinet members is that, when you ask for resources, you got to be able to sustain the financial requirements with whatever resources you ask for. So, with GRTA, we started advertising on our buses. We're going to be looking at, hopefully the Uber type transit system that will enable us to come up with an Uber mobility on demand where riders can download their app, whether they're tourists or residents of Guam, download the app, schedule their rides, and we'll have a van go out and pick up people going to the same destination. So, with Uber, there's the software has about 60 languages. So with that, there's Korean, there's Japanese, there's Chinese, and other tourists within Asia who can download the app, schedule their rides when they come to Guam, GRTA, or our partners from private industry will be ready to pick those people up. And we'll derive some of our income from that. We're also looking at franchising public transportation and managing public parking in Guam. And so, with those funding sources, hopefully we'll be able to be self-sustaining.
Mr. Babauta, I'd like to introduce my good friend and colleague on the floor here who would like to ask you a question, Mr. Jason Solis from the KUM News team. Jason?
Yeah, Mr. B. Buenas, thanks for joining us again. As a computer guy, when I first heard that you guys were, going to evaluate and hopefully implement, the Uber style of ride sharing, I'm curious to say, what kind of career opportunities and what type of, how this will also change the dynamic of how you staff at GRTA, because obviously you're going to need people with maybe a different skill set to manage those systems and to be able to maintain them on a day-to-day basis. And I've been here long enough that I remember when Department of Public Works implemented their highway management system. I think it was maybe around 2003, 2004. They brought in all of these engineers to do what was basically like the closed circuit TV system for all the traffic lights, and that was fantastic and everything. So are you kind of using the same approach to, as you talk about modernizing the on-demand system, the dispatching, the communications network?
Right, Chris, Jason, you're right. Pretty much, it'd be similar to that. But one thing about the Federal Transit Administration, because of the nature of transporting people and making sure that the rides are safe, making sure that the rides are on time, the Federal Transit Administration has a policy that's called asset management. Unlike other probably federal governments, we are mandated with that policy to make sure that whatever system we purchase with FTA funds, whatever building we build, use FTA funds, that we have a transit asset plan that we make sure that we are maintaining and upkeeping whatever resources we've bought, but we are going to make sure by FTA policy that the system is maintained effectively. And the building is maintained. But definitely one of the our request with the American Rescue Plan is a management information systems person, to ensure that our systems are well maintained and they're reliable. Well, as a matter of fact, we're looking at making sure that we have backup electronic systems so that when the power goes out, or that our buses are going to be charged, our transit management system remains intact, because we are transporting paratransit riders who need to get to their medical appointments. So therefore, it's imperative that and that will not negate any of the riders' transportation requirements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mr. B, how big of a fleet are you looking at maintaining when you talk about, like, just deploying all of these electric buses?
Sure, I tell you what. Right now, to have a reliable and safe, transit system, I've got on the board here. I'd like to have at least. Our goal is to have about 150 buses, but
wow.
We're going to continue to build. We have 20. We have 26 right now. We're buying 10. We're buying about 10 more. We're hoping to get. Then we have 8 that we're purchasing through the bus and bus facilities. That $9.5 million grant that we purchased. For the first time, we submitted a couple of grants, competitive grants, and both times we were awarded, combined $11. So, man, I'll tell you, in the less than 3 years, we've got money for for GRTA, $11 million. We're ordering more buses. We're building a facility. We're building a park and ride. We're this mobility on demand. We will be doing it's a feasibility study that we're putting together as a team to study the viability of mobility on demand transit operations in Guam. This grant that we were awarded to do this is a special grant. Only 25 transit agencies in the United States were awarded grants to do this study and report back to FTA so that they can take this information and share it with other transit agencies in the United States. One of the big mobility on demand is that the old way of transit, where you send a bus out to the different bus stops, hoping that somebody will be there to be picked up, that's the old way of doing transit business. It's costly, but with this mobility on demand, when we send a van out to pick up people, we know that somebody's going to be picked up. So, we're maximizing our resources. But again, the nature of the study is to make sure that, we have good data. We study the data and forward that up to Federal Transit Administration, not at Region 9, but at Washington, D.C., because again, they're going to compile all this information along with the other 24 states. So it's very dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now, Mr. B, I'm old enough to remember, because I'm 47 years old, so I remember, maybe what.
I'm 69.
Well, we're not that far apart. So so I remember what many consider maybe like in the 80s to be like, like kind of like the heyday, right, of like Guam public transit, when the waiver ride system.
Ride the bus.
Yeah, then the waiver ride system, where you could literally like just stand on the side of the road, hold your hand up, and the bus would pull over in a like in a safe way for everybody. Is it your vision to, maybe somewhere down the road and everything like that, to get back to that point, and where public transit would operate, in concert with, like with the private taxi systems, and then privately owned, personally owned vehicles, and then also these new startup companies that are operating now and doing their own, on-demand rides. Like there's like Stroll Guam and some like Uno Go, and some of these companies. So like it's a big ecosystem that obviously you could be part of. So how do you manage that where there's not contention between all of you, but it actually makes for like a very fluid transportation system?
Yeah, Chris, and Jason, a lot of people tend to overlook the fact that, in growing an economy, transportation is one of the big factors in any economic growth. So it's very important that as we do this study that, we take a look at the different factors that will enable us to arrive at decisions that will make, this transit operations, viable and effective for all the people of Guam. GRTA, I have to admit, GRTA cannot address all the transit needs of Guam. We have to work together with private industry so that together we can, see what they can do best, what we can do best, and be mindful of resources that are available. The other thing that people need to be mindful of is that transit is not a money-making venture in terms of government entity. It's service to the people. We pick up riders, right? We bring them to work. Well, they go to work. They make a salary. They're taxed. They take that paycheck, go out to the Micronesian Mall, spend that money, and the businesses will take that money and pay taxes. So, it's that's why some people think that transit will be able to sustain itself. Of course, they try to do that, but there's always a big need to make sure that service is there to provide for the people, and that in providing for the people, that they contribute to the economic growth of Guam. So but definitely, Jason, we have to be mindful of the fact that private industry is important in any transit business. So yeah.
Certainly, yeah. That's a very, very big ambitious project you've got ahead of you. I mean, it seems like it's not just it doesn't sound like it's a slow migration over incremental steps. I mean, you guys are basically becoming a new agency in a certain light.
Jason, yeah, Jason. The other thing about this man, I tell you, I've been retired, really, to be honest with you, and I'm not bragging retirement GRTA, but it's a service that I provide to the people. This is reality that I'm telling you right now. I never had any chance to use hot water until I enlisted in the United States Air Force. So I'm mindful of where I came from. And with that, I have passion with these people who are looking for transportation to go to their medical appointments, to go to find jobs, be able to work, And that's really the kind of people that I have in my agency right now. We grew from 7 people to almost 70 people right now. And we're comfortable with the service that we're providing, with the resources that we have. Imagine, there's never been any support for the homeless in terms of transportation. We're supporting veterans with no transportation, in addition to paratransit and fixed route, So that's where the passion and the heart comes from. And that's where I'm at right now with this transit agency. Mm-hmm. I'm passionate about this, man. I want to do good for the people of Guam. And it's not about recognition or what, it's about providing for the poor or the poorest, because I came from there.
Right on. Mr. Babauta, yeah, I didn't know what hot water was either when I was growing up, so I can relate. But I just want to commend you because we haven't had someone like you leading transit, so it's really very, very good to hear what your center is. We're out of time, though, Mr. B. Is there anything you want to add in closing?
Man, Chris, I just want to let the people of Guam know that, since 2011, GRTA was born, and, we cannot make drastic improvements overnight, but I can assure them that we're doing our best. And just bear with us because we're going to get there somehow. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Always. Thank you, Mr. B.
All right, sir. Have a good day. You guys have a good weekend.
You too. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, sir.
Right on. Mr. Cel Babauta, it's 9:21. Let's go ahead and do the sneak peek of the One Micronesia podcast right here on the link. Jay, tell us a little bit more about this great podcast, which is one of our flagship shows